saw a video about how neurodivergent people drink water. I have literally never related to anything more, but sadly their stitches were off. So today I need to show you my own impression. This is an impression of everybody I know. Now here's me. Can I have some more? My thirst cannot be quenched. Extremely hydrated, but always thirsty and neurodivergent. Okay,
So being neurodivergent is drinking lots of water? Special thank you to my YouTube members and patrons for supporting the channel and supporting my content. How's it going, everybody, and welcome back to another subreddit video. It feels like it's been absolutely ages since I last looked at r/fakedisordercringe. It's been about a month, which is usually about how long I leave it between videos, but it feels like it's been a while. I also just got back from holiday yesterday, so we're getting straight back into the flow of things. Oh boy. Today with r/fakedisordercringe, I'm not going to be focusing so much on the DID stuff. I feel like we focused on that a lot, and it always comes up. It will still be coming up, don't worry, but there's a couple of other things I wanted to talk about in this video that we shall be looking at, so I'll mention them when they come up. Let's take a look, shall we? When I said there's a couple of different things I wanted to look at, I actually am starting with it, and that is what people are calling trans-autistic, and there's also transabled and that kind of thing. Trans-autistic. It refers to someone who want to become autistic. It can also be used to describe someone who feels they should become autistic. Trans-autistic individuals are not necessarily holistic. They can be physio-autistics, people who want to acquire another form of autism. In opposition, a cis-autistic individual is someone who doesn't want to become autistic and or doesn't feel they should become autistic. Already misunderstanding the whole trans experience, okay? Because being trans isn't being a gender and a wanting to be the other gender. It's being a gender but stuck in another gender's body. So already they're misunderstanding what it means to be trans. Autism is a physical and neurological condition hardwired into me and other actual autistics. You cannot become autistic, and thinking such is extremely ableist. You will never be welcome in autistic spaces, and I hope you seek help for whatever is making you act like a weirdo fool. We just need to find the factors that cause autism, especially forms of autism that are mainly caused by environmental, social factors. So what is ableist? It's just the opposite of ableism, since autism is seen as positive or neutral. Your accusation makes no sense, and you're just spitting out the holistic perspective of autism, i.e. something people shouldn't have. No, okay, you are ableist by wanting to have something. And not just wanting to have it, okay? It's not the opposite of ableism to be happy about having something like autism. People have autism, and that's fine. It's a normal thing, and people have it. That's kind of just the end of. But you have no reason to want to have it. And at the end of the day, being trans-autistic means you pretend to have it, and then when it's an issue and you don't want to anymore, you just stop. That is ableist. Autistic people don't have the privilege to just not be autistic when it doesn't suit them. Please just self-diagnose autism. It's okay to self-diagnose. It is far less complicated to self-diagnose than to do this. But actually don't actually get an actual diagnosis, or at least try. Trans-autism isn't about self-diagnosing. It's about wanting to become autistic. Again, the complete misunderstand of what it means to be trans. Transgender people don't want to be the other gender. They are. A trans man doesn't want to be a man. A trans man is a man. They are just in a woman's body. Whereas a trans autistic person isn't an autistic person. They want to be. Therefore, they're not trans. Heyo, I'm Carl, factive of Carl Jacobs, 19. I'm gay as fuck. I'm bi gender, fine with any pronouns. Proxy is purple circle. You're gay for me. Shut up, whore. No. And I'm Dream, factive of Dream, 18, bisexual, cis, he, him pronouns. Proxy is green circle. Oh yeah, we're dating. We're flaming homosexuals. You're not wrong. It's weird enough writing fan fictions about actual real people, straight up, that's weird. Writing fan fictions about SMP people, just weird. It's just weird. Doing it about any real people, it's just weird. I don't want any fan fictions about me written ever, and that's on video now, so you know that it's bad if you write it. But not only is it weird writing fan fictions about people, it's even weirder claiming to have those people in your head and dating, and claiming that that fan fiction is actually a real thing going on inside your brain. That's not okay. You've made it even weirder than just writing fan fictions about real people. I don't have access to the headspace. Can someone please tell me how to access it? I'm having so much trouble. If you look up how to get into Inner World, there's a tutorial by Gianu System of how to meditate there. Bruh, don't know how to be DID? Just look up a tutorial for it. What? I don't know. So, okay, for the context of this one, Blue and Green are actually friends and actually know each other. Red is a complete rando on the internet. I cannot believe you ship Jolene and Weather. What? I'm a Joe Limes, and Jolene and Anusui enjoyer. Weather is 40, but him with Anusui is fine. I ship Weather with myself. That's okay, I'll ship it too. Not gonna lie, I'd smash. Jolene and Anusui relationship is unhealthy. Anusui is BPD coded, and Jolene shows no interest in him. A Jolene fictive. Just because you claim to be a fictive does not mean you therefore have the rights over ships and what should and shouldn't be shipped. Ignoring the fact that chances are they're not a real fictive and that they don't really have DID. A fictive means that they are in your brain, right? They are an alter of the same body. What that doesn't mean is that that alter has all of the intricate knowledge, ins and outs, and knows every single thing about the character that they are a fictive of, because they can only know the information that the brain and body has. So you don't have the right to tell someone that their ship is wrong because you don't necessarily know any better than them. Endogenic system of 1,000. They them collective. Anti-endo DNI. A lot of littles. So sign 1 that someone might not know about what they're talking about. They think endogenic systems are real. Sign number 2 that someone might not know as much as they claim to know. They claim to have over 1,000 alters. Sign number 3 that someone might not know as much as they claim to know. They advertise their littles on the internet. What do you guys think? Halloween-genic. I hope that's a real thing. I love Halloween so much. It's unfortunately not on Pluralpedia. No, I will make it. Yes, dem aunties mad. They're not even trying to pretend that they're not making these things up anymore. Pluralpedia is just a fan site. It's basically like Fandom Wiki, but for mental health disorders. They are free to go and make up their own disorders and make up their own fandoms, and then people will Google them and go, see, I told you it's real, it's on Pluralpedia. We're back to this. Hashtag transabled. Been seeing some negativity lately, so transabled people are valid. People who want to medically transition their bodies to match their identity are valid. People who don't want to medically transition are valid. Headmates/alters whose inner world abilities or bodies don't match the bodies are valid. People with dysphoria related to their limbs/disabilities are valid. People who get euphoria from identifying as their true self are valid. People who get euphoria from using disability aids are valid. This user is trans-autistic and plans on transitioning. Trans-ED, someone who feel they should acquire an eating disorder. It gets worse. Devi-bulimic, it's a Cyric identity describing someone who wants to acquire bulimia. It can also be used to describe those who internally feel as if they should acquire bulimia. Dianorexic is a Cyric identity describing someone who want to acquire mental anorexia. It can also be used to describe those who internally feel as if they should acquire mental anorexia. That's a convenient one, just mental. They don't want it to actually reflect on the unhealthiness on their body. They just want the convenience of the attention and getting to say they're anorexic. They just want to be able to tell people that, oh, I'm actually anorexic. I'm not unhealthy and I do everything normally, but I'm anorexic. Disabled people, the majority of the population, are individuals who don't wish to effectuate a physical transition to acquire a disability. Cisable people may be individuals who don't have a disability or have a disability, cis-disabled, as a result of involuntary factors from biological sources, accidents, etc. While it is true that transabled people make the choice to transition into disability, it must be recognized that cisabled individuals also make the choice to remain in their original body with disabilities or not, even though this choice is invisible as it constitutes normality. Especially for able-bodied people, these individuals spend time, energy, and money to maintain their body in a certain state and without disabilities. I hate this. Okay, first of all, I'm not cisabled. It's not a word. That's not a real word. I'm just able-bodied. It's not cisabled because cisabled implies that transabled exists, which it doesn't. Second of all, doctors aren't gonna go around and allow you to cripple yourself. A doctor isn't gonna be like, yeah, I'll break your knees so that you can go around in a wheelchair and live out your dreams. No self-respecting doctor is gonna do that. Third of all, they talk about choice again, which completely undermines everything it means to be trans, which isn't a choice. I don't make the choice to be able-bodied. I am able-bodied. It's not a choice for me to go out and injure myself to damage my body so that I'm not able-bodied. That is just the norm of existing, okay? Third of all, if you are an able-bodied person and you choose to not do things you are able to do, i.e. you can walk upstairs, but you choose not to walk upstairs because you would rather take the elevator. You can walk, but you choose not to walk because you'd rather have someone push you around in a wheelchair. You can talk, but you choose not to talk because you'd rather be a mute. All of these things are not transabled. They are ableist. Because when you decide that you no longer want to do those things, you can go back to doing things the way that an able-bodied person would, which disabled people, they don't have that privilege. It's already hard enough for disabled people, okay? There's already not enough facilities for them. They already get treated poorly. They get told they're lazy. They get told that they should just improve their health. And now we've got people saying that they're going to claim that they are disabled when they are actually not, and then they can actually just walk and do things that disabled people can't do. That is ableist. And the fact that they can't see that is baffling. The fact that they're like, no, this is the opposite of ableist. We're making things better for disabled people. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Endogenic systems do not owe anyone an explanation about their system origins. Kaden. Endogenic systems do not owe anyone the private information that is whether or not they have trauma. Well, they don't. If they're endogenic, they don't have trauma. That's what it means. And also, if they're endogenic, they don't have DID. Endogenic systems do not owe anyone the details of their trauma if they do have it. If they have trauma, then they wouldn't be endogenic. They would be a normal person with DID. They wouldn't be endogenic. Endogenic systems do not owe anyone the private information that is their diagnostic status. Well, yeah, I mean, it helps to be able to tell everyone that you have it, regardless of whether or not you actually have it, if you don't have to prove to anyone that you have it. Endogenic systems do not have to tell you whether their diagnosis is a self-diagnosed or professional. Yeah, because it helps to be able to say, oh, I'm diagnosed. I'm not going to tell you by who. It's like all those fake DID people that were like, oh, we have it. I have an alter that diagnosed me, and that alter is a doctor. Endogenic systems do not owe anyone anything. No one owes anyone anything. However, everybody that knows the truth about endogenic systems doesn't owe you the respect of treating your fantasy like it's real. You are harming actual people with DID. You are making it harder for actual people with DID. Ultimately, you don't owe anyone else anything, they don't owe you anything. And I get the comment come up fairly often that's like, oh, but how are these people harming them? They're just doing what they want, they're having a bit of fun. And first of all, it makes it harder for people that have legitimate issues to get diagnosed because of the amount of people that are faking it. But also, what do you think the effects that hundreds of thousands of people on the internet claiming to have these disorders will have on actual studies? In the long term, over 2 years of people faking having disorders now, the effects that will have on studies is going to be debilitating. There's going to be a whole period of study on issues like autism and DID that has to be completely disregarded by future scientists because they have no confirmation that anyone that they've actually interviewed or looked at for these studies actually has has these conditions. There's going to be a whole period, a whole blank window of study, because the last few years will have been totally useless. Nothing can be gained or learned from studying these illnesses right now, because there is no guarantee that any of the people they are studying are legitimate, because so many people are faking it. This will have long-term repercussions on these studies, on these effects, and on these treatments. Long-term. It's bad. I'm going to bed, but I'm going to pull a silly little prank, because to be honest, she kind of needs the distraction. But feel free to completely blow up this question box for Becca tomorrow. She'll almost definitely front in the morning. Monica. Ah yes, because people with DID can totally just decide, oh, this person's probably gonna front tomorrow. That's totally how DID works, isn't it? And the final post. Me wanting to travel to another system just to deliver pizza. Ends up in another system's inner world. Decides to run away from the core system. Ends up traveling to over 5 inner worlds, all from different systems. Becomes a temporary host for another system. Turns out a headmate from this system has had a crush on a headmate. The headmate from my core system turns out to be a pretty bad persecutor. The persecutor turns out to force front stuck himself and constantly push everyone out of the front to take over the body. I return to my core system. I fight him off front, he's in love with me now. This reads like a bad fan fiction. Are people writing fan fictions about DID now? You can't just travel to another system. That's not, you don't just like, oh, I'm done with this brain, I'ma just pop into another one for a bit. Contrary to popular belief, humans cannot tap into each other's brains. I don't, what is this? Why is there just a DID fan fiction that someone's written? I mean, most of these are fan fictions because most of these aren't real. But what? And that's where I'm going to end the video, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed. Tell me what you think about transabled, trans autism, etc. down in the description below, because what? If you want to support me in making more content like this, then I have a Patreon in the description down below, or equally you can click that join button on the channel to support me. It helps a lot more than you might realize, but by no means should you feel like you have to. I'm going to keep making content regardless. Special thank you to Nix, Holly Miller, Kaori Ann Mori, Chase Howard, Karen Duca, Top Shelf, Elle, Rennie, Dev, Thomas Penny, Emily Potter, Greyhound, Maxine Lankow, Gravity Gaia, Kelly Bock, Lucky Socks, Carolyn, The Angry Potato, Sven Arctic Fox, The Outcast Jupiter, Abel Eris Winchester, Ghost Orchid, Charlie the Mad 256, Cake Cat, The Wings of Ruin, Conspiracy Cake, Two Lakes in a Valley, Ica Limchok, An Agent, Galaxy, Ronnie, Tam, Bug, Toxie Rain, Salted Denim, Poet Blanderson, and Danielle Thomas for supporting the channel and supporting my content. And as always, I will see you in the next video, everybody. Peace out.